Hey, how y'all doing tonight? William here. I'm here to talk about OpenGate. Now, I'm gonna wait for people to jump online real quick, see if this is something they're interested in. If not, I'm just gonna make this a short 10-minute stream, but it's worth talking about. I'm gonna use this photo above me here, this one here, to demonstrate OpenGate. So, first off, let me show you what it really looks like. The aspect ratio to where it originally started. So here's the photo as it is. So 3x2. So this is what everybody wants. They want open gate. And I don't blame you. I mean, if you want open gate, grab your open gate. I'm here to talk about it. I'm on your side. I think if you must have open gate, then you must have open gate. Open the gate up. Let's do it. But in my opinion, there's a couple things that you need to understand about open gate. If you look at this picture here, this is without any markers on it. So if you don't know where you're going to be at and how you're going to be on there, then you're going to have problems. So let me go over here, put a banner on this one here. Let's see if I can put a banner on that one there. Let me put a banner on that one. All right, we can move that banner up. Won't let me use the banner for it, so I'm going to do it a different way. If we're looking at the aspect ratios here, essentially, if I wanted to take the middle of this photo and make that my 16 by 9, I could. So basically, I would take this and stretch it out to a 16 by 9. And that's what you would do, and that's how you get your vertical ratio. You would lose a lot of data to the left and right, so you could recompose it to the left or right easily. And that's how you use 3x2. Now, the disadvantage to this is if you don't know where your markers are set, you may be looking at a scene where the idea of it is we're going to go with the left handle to be the vertical side, but we still want the 16 by 9 to be centered off of the middle for a 16 by 9 ratio or horizontal. If you don't have your markers in the right spot, you're going to have issues down the road getting this shot. Now, most people who are doing recomposing with the 16 by 9 format are not doing what I'm talking about here. Let me drop that down a little bit. And let's show you what happens when you pull this in a little bit, zoom this in a little bit. So here you go. Now I've taken up more real estate, and I'm going to put myself way at the bottom. You don't need to see my face for this. That's allowing you to take advantage of the real estate of the photo or the video. If you really, really want to expand upon using these ratios, you do need to have markers, because if the idea from the client is they want this side of the 3x2, but they also want the horizontal to be based off this center piece, that could be the Achilles heel if you don't know how to put your markers on your camera properly. And sometimes it's best to worry about putting the markers on just the vertical and not worry about the horizontal and set the markers where you want them in that photo, in that video. I'm using a photo right now to show how that works, but that is one of the things about using 3x2 ratio. And with that, you do get great real estate, so you don't lose really any of your real estate that you're working with. The only thing that comes with working with 3x2 ratio is you have to know what you're going to do in post. So if your post-production isn't set up the way that you want to, then your main production is just not going to work. This is going to be a really technical one here, because my next video is going to be on which camera you should buy if you want to do OpenGate. And I'm going to be leaning towards a lot of cameras you wouldn't believe. Those will be Blackmagics, they will be Panasonics, and they will be, if you want to go high up, and I believe it's the Burano does it, and I believe there's a couple like the Canons. But the big thing is why you would want to choose each one of these cameras. And I'm really down to just two brands, I think, for the 3x2 ratio that's going to give you the best possible results. And the camera that's going to do it the most, in my opinion, is one that no one's really talking about. And that camera is going to be the Panasonic S52X. That is the best camera for doing OpenGate. And if you're really looking at OpenGate and you want to know how to do the ratios, this is where you're going to have to learn how to understand what you're seeing in front of you. For example, like this is your shot, so this is your whole shot that you're working with. We're going to want to make sure that we get the correct aspect ratio for our vertical. Now, if you've got somebody who knows where their vertical is going to be, it's very easy to put your markers in place and get ready to do your shot. And then you can make your horizontal, regular 16:9 ratio stuff very easy. But here's where things get difficult. Do we know where we're going to put the 16:9, 9x6? Hey Jeff, how you doing? Thank you for the comment. Thank you for the like. Now, when we're looking at this, this is how you would take your aspect ratios if you're in post-production, and you'd be able to keep all of that vertical. This is why 3x2 is such a cool tool. But if you notice, I lose a lot of horizontals, which is just fine because the client's going to want that vertical look. They're still going to want that 16:9 for the horizontal. It's very easy to adjust that aspect later in post. But if you're someone who knows what that's going to be for aspect ratios up front, you can actually put your vertical and your horizontal aspect ratios right on your screen. And you can actually see where your horizontals and verticals are going to be. And there's so many different ways you can take this shot and make it what you want it to be. So for example, if you're looking for more of that one street only, this is this, these are the sky risers. This is one way you can use that open gate. Sorry about that. Danny, I don't know, and yep, I'm good. Oh, okay. And Mudflood, I haven't watched the full thing through, but it looks really good. Mudflood looked great. Looks great so far. And then I'm on desktop, so if I get this wrong, Danny, sorry. I'm on desktop, so if I get this wrong, Danny, sorry. And yes, I'm on desktop. One of the advantages too is if you've got the right desktop stuff, you can do your vertical oriented work off of there too. For example, what I like about this is being able to switch your perspective. So if you want more of the cityscape with the road, there you go. So doing 3x2 has some great positives. So don't think I was hating on 3x2. My hate is that people weren't taking the time to teach this. You see so many people talking about the greatness of the 3x2 ratio, but you're not seeing someone really talk about how to make this ratio work. And what I want you to see is the workflow, if you were editing with this, is going to be different. Because this workflow is not the same as everybody else's workflow. In the 16:9 workflow, you don't have to worry so much about the vertical plane. When you're working in 3x2, you have to put your markers in place so you do get the vertical plane you're looking for. Because if you don't get the right vertical plane, we could be in a situation where, let me pull myself down a little bit here. And then we need to pull this up a little bit. Now what you'll notice here is on this vertical plane, the more and more that I get the vertical to match up to taking up the whole screen, less and less of the horizontal I have to work with. So you may have thought with the 3x2, I've got this great 6:9 ratio that's just going to be miraculous, or 9x6 ratio is going to be miraculous. But if you don't have your markers up, you may find yourself in a position where you just don't see that you do not have the right shot. There's a guy named Vu on here on YouTube, really cool guy, and he just did a short, and he showed exactly what he does on his camera when he's got on a gimbal. And I've got a shoot like that tomorrow where I'm going to be just out shooting. It's going to be a recap video for an event, and it's, you know, having 3x2 might have been nice. But would I want to have had to shoot in 3x2 and then send it off to our editor, and then the editor go, well, what's the right shot I'm supposed to be going for? It's something I'm thinking about, and generally since I shoot in 4K anyway, it never has been a major issue. because we're going to be, once again, like Gerald said, it's going to be on a device that's not going to have high resolution for a vertical plane. So if you got a 4K and you are chopping into a 4K, you're basically getting a bunch of 1080p's that are really easy to work with, because your vertical on that 4K is essentially a 1080 vertical. So you're not really losing anything. What happens with the 3x2 is you get more of that to work with in the field. So that's what I got to say on this. Now, if you have questions on, what I'm doing with why I just used a photo instead of taking video with it, it came as simple as this. I wanted to use a static piece of material that is easy to see, easy represents what we're talking about in the 3x2 ratio. And as you can see, I'm using, I don't know if anyone's ever used EVMux, but it's really easy to just build a scene out real quick and show you what you could use for real estate in 3x2. And I'm doing this right in the scene editor. And I wanted to show this here because you can easily see what happens when you recompose a shot. So I'm doing two different ratios at once to get my 16:9. So I could easily do this, turn myself into this shot a little bit more. I can pull my head over this way and I'm good. My only question I have is, will camera manufacturers be taking the time to put the right markers in to make it a better position for those who want to start using 3x2? Because if you're not used to composing for a 3x2, you're going to find yourself with a post-production workflow that is going to hurt for the first 20 or 30 shoots. Now, I don't know how many of you had to recompose a shot in post, either meaning horizontal or vertical, and have had to make those subtle changes because the client's like, well, there's too much of this in there. Can you pull that person out? And I've had to do that many times. And since most of our deliveries are going to be on, YouTube, Vimeo, their websites, 1080p is my delivery, and I record in 4K, which is the reason why I've always recomposed with that. Having a 3x2 ratio, though, in a 5.7K allows you to do this type of recomposing, and allows you to move a person around and move the scenario around. You can even move up and down in the scene, so if that's not where they want you to be at, you can move the scene up and down and it'll get you where you want. Now, does that mean that it's always going to be perfect? No. Because as much as we would like it to be perfect, if I unlock these dimensions here, so I'm unlocking dimension, you get a stretch like this is what some people used to do. Now, I have news for you. Some people used to do this for 16:9 or fixing things. I'm going to restore the aspect ratio. So what some people used to do to get a little bit of squeeze out of it is they would take a 16:9 and stretch it just a hair. So if you've ever seen the footage that looked a little stretched, this is what they used to do to try to make it look like it was a larger horizontal. And what that would do is it would allow you to then lock in the ratio, and then you could easily move it around. But some clients just didn't like that, and I don't blame them, because it made somebody look distorted. But once again, this is what you can do with 3x2 ratio. I'm going to get back into this into a second stream, so if you stick around, I'm going to do another stream completely on what I think is the two best cameras to jump into the 3x2 ratio, actually the top three, for under $4,000 ready to go. And that's going to be one of the big things. Like when you're shooting in this aspect ratio, you want something you can go right to work with. And I want you to have that opportunity. So my next live will be specifically on that. For those who have watched today, this is my shorter live, so it's only going to be like 15 minutes. So I got 30 seconds left. So thank you for watching. I appreciate the likes I got. Thank you for everybody who showed up. We're going to be talking about Panasonic cameras here in the next 10 minutes or so, so be ready for another set of lives. Thank you for watching. William Davis with A.P.C Photography, and I am your DP. Peace.